They told him the mission was off the books. What they didn't tell him was who the real target was. Commander Jace Monroe stared at the encrypted briefing tablet, glowing dimly inside his blacked-out Humvee. The rain hissed against the armored roof like it knew something was wrong. The message on screen was short, classified at the highest level. Only one line stood out. Asset Pandora has gone rogue. Terminate before acquisition. Pandora. The code name wasn't new to Jace. It had haunted military databases for over a decade. Dr. Elias Voss, once a top-tier biochemical scientist under U.S. protection, had vanished 2 years ago. Everyone believed he was dead. Until now. The Humvee came to a stop outside the steel gate of a remote Virginia base known only as Black Echo, a facility that didn't exist on any map. Jay stepped out, boots hitting wet gravel, and was immediately greeted by a cold voice. Commander Monroe. Inside. The team's waiting. Inside the war room, 5 men in plain tactical gear stood around a holographic map. All were Tier 1 operators, the best of the best. They didn't salute. SEAL Team Reaper didn't stand on ceremony. They were shadows. Mission simple. Jay said, voice firm. We tracked the target to Al-Qaza, northern Iraq. Intel confirms is selling a bioweapon formula to a terror syndicate. We go in silent, extract or eliminate, and disappear. Ghost, the team sniper, raised an eyebrow. Why the secrecy? This could be a CDC-level outbreak if it leaks. Jace nodded. Because Pandora isn't just carrying a vial. It's carrying the blueprint. If it falls into the wrong hands, we're talking global chaos. Hawk, the comms expert, cracked his knuckles. So why not send a drone? Why boots on the ground? Because someone in command thinks Voss might not be alone. That silenced the room. Gearing up in 10, Jay said. Wheels up in 1 hour. As they moved toward the armory, Reaper unit operated like a machine. No chatter, no hesitation. Each man knew his role, but under the surface, tension brewed. Voss wasn't just a rogue scientist. He was once under Reaper protection. One of their own had saved him during a Syrian extraction years ago. Now that same man might have to put a bullet in his head. 1 hour later, over Iraqi airspace, the C-130 flew blacked out, hugging the edge of radar range. Inside, the SEALs performed final checks. Gears strapped, weapons silent, eyes sharp. Jace looked across at his men. Ghost, Hulk, Bear, Striker, Razor, his brothers. Each carried secrets. And he could feel it. Something about this op was off. The red light turned green. Time to jump, Jay said. One by one, they vanished into the night, swallowed by clouds and silence. A ghost team on a ghost mission. Somewhere below, Dr. Elias Voss prepared to unleash a nightmare. And in the next 72 hours, not all of them would make it back alive. They jumped into the dark, but something was already waiting for them on the ground. The desert wind screamed as SEAL Team Reaper sliced through the night sky. 5 bodies, 5 parachutes, no lights, no chatter, only the sound of high-altitude air rushing past as they plummeted toward enemy territory. Commander Jace Monroe kept his body tight, steering with precision toward the pre-programmed drop zone, a barren stretch of Iraqi desert 15 clicks from Al-Qaza. No villages, no eyes, just silence. Or so they thought. Jace hit the ground hard but clean, rolled, and was up in seconds, sweeping the area. One by one, the rest of the team landed, regrouping fast. Status? Jace whispered into his comm. All green, Ghost replied, pulling his suppressed sniper rifle from its pack. Bear, the team's heavy gunner, scanned the ridge with his night vision. Clear. No movement. Too clear, Hawk muttered. They buried their parachutes under sand, already on edge. It wasn't paranoia. These men had a sixth sense, honed in fire and chaos. And something about the air here didn't feel right. Let's move, Jace ordered. They traveled on foot under cloak of darkness, using dry wadis and rocky outcropping for cover. The terrain was cruel, jagged rock, shifting sands, and scorching winds. But they moved like ghosts. Al-Qaza was close. Somewhere in that town, their target, Dr. Elias Voss, was either preparing to sell the bioweapon formula or already had. 2:14 a.m. outer perimeter, Okaza. The town was a husk, old brick walls, burned vehicles, windows covered with scrap wooden tops. Satellite scans had shown minimal heat signatures, but the closer they got, the less that made sense. Thermals picking up faint heat. Third building on the right, Hawk whispered, tapping his tablet. Could be a power source. Stack up, Jace ordered. They moved in, shadows blending with rubble and shadow. Ghost took overwatch, positioning on a rooftop. Bear covered the rear. Razor and Stryker flanked tight behind Jace. The door creaked slightly as they breached, but what they found made every man stop cold. The room was empty, except for a projector and a single recording device, still playing. On the screen, a grainy video looped. "Welcome, Reapers. You're right on time." The voice was Voss. The screen cut to black, replaced with coordinates, flashing red, and then a final message. "You're not the hunters anymore. You're the bait." "Ambush." Ghost's voice screamed through comms. Northridge, 5 tangos with suppressed rifles. Gunfire cracked. Silence shattered. The walls erupted as bullets tore through the structure. Razor went down with a graze to the shoulder. Bear returned fire with a short burst from his suppressed M4, cutting down one attacker. Jace pulled Razor behind cover. "Stay with me." Ghost, status. Hawk barked. "Engaging. 1 down, 2 repositioning. We're box in." They knew we were coming. Stryker growled, reloading. "No. They invited us," Jay said, eyes narrowing. Something about this whole mission was starting to stink, like the team had been fed to the wolves. But who gave the order? And worse, who leaked their entry point? As they fought to regroup and escape, one thing became chillingly clear. This was never about stopping a weapon. This was a message. And someone wanted the world's most elite SEAL team to disappear, without a trace. The only place they thought was safe just became the deadliest trap of all. The team was bleeding. Razor's shoulder wound slowed him down, and Ghost had a cracked rib from the rooftop jump after returning fire. But they were alive, for now. Jace led the team southwest through broken alleys and abandoned homes, moving fast and low. The ambush had changed everything. This wasn't just a hunt. It was a setup. Their only hope now was a fallback point, a safe house deep in the ruins of an old textile factory codenamed Echo Nest. Built by intelligence operatives and hidden from all civilian grids, it was supposed to be impenetrable. Supposed to be. 3:09 a.m. Echo Nest, Okaza outskirts. A rusted steel door creaked open, revealing a hidden chamber beneath the factory floor. The space was small, reinforced with concrete, stacked with supplies, and lined with blackout curtains. A single emergency bulb flickered to life. Jace activated the comms terminal inside. "Command, this is Reaper 1. Mission compromised. Hostile ambush confirmed. Request exfil or fire support." Static. He tried a secondary channel. Nothing. "We're jammed," Hawk said grimly. "They've got us in a black bubble. No comms. No sat link." Jace exhaled, eyes scanning the team. This op was leaked. Someone up top wanted us dead. Or someone down here did, Ghost added quietly, looking at each man in turn. Silence fell. For the first time, the unspoken question surfaced. Was the traitor among them? "No way," Razor hissed. "We've bled together for years." "Exactly," Ghost replied. "That's what makes betrayal hurt the most." Stryker paced near the exit, paranoid. "We should move. We sit here. We die here." Bear, ever the calmest, finally spoke. "We need to patch up, eat, rest an hour, then move on foot. No more trusting tech. We ghost our way out." Jace nodded. "Agreed. Hawk, sweep for trackers. We leave no signals." As Hawk began a sweep, something caught his eye, a blinking red dot beneath the comms terminal. "What the hell is this?" A small blinking device wedged behind the console. Microtransmitter. Active. "Move!" Hawk yelled, diving forward. The explosion hit like thunder. The shockwave tore through the safe house, collapsing part of the ceiling. Dust and smoke filled the air. Alarms wailed from somewhere far above. Not theirs. It wasn't just a bomb. It was a signal. They'd just lit a beacon in the middle of a war zone. 3:18 a.m. outside Echo Nest. Armed vehicles approached from 3 directions. Black pickups with mounted machine guns and masked men yelling in Arabic. Local militia. Paid guns. They're coming. Stryker shouted, dragging Razor up. They found us. Jace and Ghost opened fire through the crumbled doorway, forcing the first wave to dive for cover. Bullets ricocheted off walls. Bear unleashed a deafening burst from his LMG, shredding a truck's tires. Fall back route, now. Jace ordered. The team poured out the rear tunnel exit, coughing, injured, low on ammo, and now officially on the run. The safe house was gone. The comms were dead, and their mission still unclear. As they disappeared into the ruins, Jace's mind raced. There were only a few people who had Echo Nest location. One of them had just sold them out. But why? Why feed a Tier 1 team into a death trap? Unless Voss wasn't the mission at all. Buried in the sand was a clue no one was supposed to find, because it was never meant to exist. The desert had swallowed them whole. Hours after the safe house explosion, SEAL Team Reaper was deep in the northern Iraqi wastelands. No lights, no drones, no tech. Just instincts and silence. Razor was holding up, but barely. Hulk kept pressure on his shoulder while Ghost kept an eye on the dunes behind them, sniper rifle always half-raised. Bear was dragging a makeshift sled loaded with water, medkits, and ammo looted from the burning wreckage of Echo Nest. Where are we even going? Stryker grunted. We need a direction, not just distance. We're headed to Grid 9G Beta, Jace replied, eye scanning a small hand-drawn map. It was listed in the classified backup files. Old Soviet site. Cold War era. Last use in the 80s. A Soviet ghost town. Hulk frowned. You think Voss is hiding in a place even satellites forgot. Not hiding, Jace muttered. Working. 6:12 a.m. Soviet ruins. Grid 9G Beta. The sun was just cracking over the horizon when they reached it, a rusted fence half buried in sand, twisted barbed wire, and 2 collapsed buildings, once red brick, now sun-bleached bones. They moved in slowly. No heat signatures. No movement. Just the wind and the soft crunch of boots on gravel. Inside the main building was decay and dust, until Bear lifted an old floor panel. What the hell? He whispered. Beneath the panel was a sealed hatch, new, clean, and clearly not from the Soviet era. This place was reactivated recently, Jay said. This wasn't on any U.S. intel map, not even the CIA's Black Book. Hawk hacked the hatch's biometric pad with a field device. After a tense 45 seconds, the lock clicked open. They descended into the dark. 6:30 a.m. underground lab. What they found didn't look like a lab. It looked like a museum of nightmares. Stainless steel tables, rows of vials, computer stations powered by military-grade portable generators, large tanks sealed behind reinforced glass, files with diagrams, DNA helix sequences, pathogen sketches, biowarfare. Hulk breathed. This is where it's making it. Razor leaned against the wall, pale. Then where the hell is Voss? Jace picked up a file marked Operation ASH Winter. It had a date, just 2 days ago. This isn't just research, he said. It's production. Someone preparing to deploy this thing. Suddenly, Ghost stiffened, rifle swinging toward a side room. Movement, he whispered. They fanned out, moving tactically, weapons raised. Inside, they found a man, hands zip-tied, mouth gagged, weak and dehydrated, but alive. American. Jace ripped off the gag. Who are you? Lance Donovan, CIA Field Support. I was here to monitor Voss. Then, the operation was shut down. They left me to die. Who shut it down? Bear asked. Donovan looked at them with hollow eyes. Not terrorists, not rogue nations. It was someone inside your own system. The words hit like a thunderclap. Voss was never supposed to be stopped, Donovan said, voice breaking. He was funded. 7:02 a.m. underground lab, containment room. Jay stepped back, stunned. The files, the lab, the location, it all connected. Voss hadn't gone rogue. He had gone deep, protected. Hidden. Empowered by someone with access to SEAL mission data, satellite blind spots, and black budget money. But now, they had proof. If they could get out alive. We need to exfil, Jace ordered. Ghost, prep the sat beacon. We send this data to every allied channel we've got, encrypted. If they come for us, they'll come fast. Too late, Hawk said, peering at his portable radar. Convoy. 3 trucks. ETA 6 minutes. And they are coming hard. Jace stared at the blinking screen. So it begins. The face behind the betrayal wasn't just familiar. It was someone they had buried years ago. The underground lab was silent, but outside, death was closing in. 3 blacked-out pickups loaded with masked mercenaries were racing toward the old Soviet compound, kicking up plumes of desert dust. The roar of engines grew louder with every breath. Jay stared at the incoming dots on Hawk's radar. We've got maybe 5 minutes before this place turns into a coffin, Ghost said, locking a fresh mag into his rifle. Jace turned to Donovan, the CIA agent they'd just rescued. Who gave the order to pull out and leave you behind? He demanded. Donovan hesitated. I don't know their real name, but their call sign in the intel network was Spectre. High-level Black Ops clearance. They were the one communicating with Voss directly, said it was all above top secret. Spectre? They asked. That's just a ghost story. Some say he ran shadow programs for the Pentagon, but he died years ago in a drone strike. Yeah, Jace muttered darkly, because we dropped the bomb that killed him. Everyone turned to Jace. He looked down, jaw clenched. Operation Black Vault. 4 years ago. Somalia. We were chasing an ex-operative turned rogue strategist. Mission log said, target eliminated. Who was the target? Ghost asked. Jace looked up slowly. Commander Nolan Ward. My mentor. The man who trained me. A long silence followed. I saw his body, Jace said, voice low. Or what was left of it. Donovan cleared his throat. Then either someone used his name to run this op. Or is still alive, Jace finished, eyes burning. 6:58 a.m. perimeter breach. Explosions rocked the old compound as a mercenary convoy hit the outer fence. Trace of fire streaked through the air. They weren't here to negotiate. They were here to bury the truth. Fall back. Jace yelled, secure the data drive. Hawk pulled the encrypted file from the server, while Bear covered the exit tunnel. Razor, still injured, clutched his rifle and took a defensive position. Movement on the east corridor. Stryker called out. Ghost dropped 2 mercs with precise shots before they could get through the breach. But they kept coming, trained, coordinated, and fast. These aren't just hired thugs, Ghost growled. This is professional extraction. Jay slammed a fresh mag into his rifle. They want Donovan in the files. We give them neither. 7:10 a.m. escape tunnel, secondary hatch. The team burst into the tunnel, dragging Donovan with them and sealing the hatch behind. The tunnel led out nearly half a mile into a rocky ravine. Suddenly, Jace's comm crackled, but it wasn't Hawk, or Ghost, or Command. It was a voice he hadn't heard in 4 years. Hello, Jace. It's been a long time. Jace froze. Impossible. You always followed orders. That's what made you reliable. But now you're asking questions. Dangerous ones. Ghost leaned in. Who is that? Jace swallowed hard. Nolan Ward. I'm not your enemy, Jace, but you've stepped too far out of the dark. Operation Ash Winter was never meant for public eyes. You were supposed to disappear. Bear whispered, He's alive. That son of a... Leave the files. Walk away. You'll never be hunted again. Jace stared at the comm. No deal. Then you've chosen death. 7:15 a.m. extraction coordinates transmitted. Jace turned to Hawk. Get that beacon online. Broadcast the data. Full sweep. On it. The team watched as Hawk transmitted encrypted files to every available satellite channel, from NATO to Five Eyes. The truth was out. No turning back now. Outside, gunfire erupted again. The final wave was coming. They are gonna hit us hard, Ghost warned. Jace looked at his brothers in arms. Then we hit harder. When the world turns on you, there's only one rule. Go dark, hit hard, leave no trace. The data was out. The secrets were exposed. And now, SEAL Team Reaper was officially off the grid, hunted by their own, marked as rogue operatives, and surrounded by Nolan Ward's private death squad. They had only one option left: Reaper Protocol, a kill switch directive buried deep in SEAL Black doctrine. No tech, no support, no rescue, just fury and fire. 7:23 a.m. Ravine exfil route, 5 clicks from Soviet lab. The sun blazed overhead, but the team moved through the shadows like ghosts. Razor was silent, pain masked by adrenaline. Donovan, the CIA agent, kept pace, fueled by fear. "They'll expect us to run," Jay said, ducking behind a crumbled stone wall. "So we don't. We hit back." Bear grinned. "About time." Stryker checked his explosives pouch. "I've got 4 pounds of C4, 2 claymores, and a pocket full of hate." Hawk flipped his visor down. "I just intercepted shortwave comms. They've got a fuel depot 6 clicks north. Private. Off the books." "Let me guess," Ghost said. "That's where Ward's next convoy is refueling." "Bingo." Jace looked over the dusty horizon. "Then we give them a welcome party." 8:05 a.m. Mercenary Fuel Depot, northern Iraq. From a distance, it looked like a simple outpost, a few fuel tanks, trucks parked under shade nets, and about 24 heavily armed guards. But SEAL Team Reaper didn't need an army. They were one. Stryker placed charges under the fuel silos. Bear snuck into the comms tent and disabled the emergency response beacon. Hawk laid down sniper overwatch from a cliffside 300 meters away. And Jace? He walked straight into the lion's den. Wearing a scarf and desert camo, he entered disguised as a local courier. A split-second glance was all he needed to confirm it. The guards weren't local militia. These were ex-operators. American, European, well-paid and well-equipped. Mercenaries hired to protect something bigger than fuel. He planted a signal beacon on the side of a truck before slipping back out through a service gate. 5 minutes later, boom, the explosion rocked the desert like thunder. Flames shot 50 feet into the air as fuel tanks detonated one after another. Trucks flipped. Ammo crates cooked off in waves of destruction. Panicked screams echoed through the valley. Then the second wave hit. Ghost dropped 3 targets from the ridge with precise headshots. Bear and Stryker opened fire from the west side, flanking the survivors. Jay stormed the central control shack, shotgun in hand, dropping the last 2 guards inside. When the smoke cleared, only one man was left alive, a mercenary with a tattoo Jace recognized. The Phoenix mark, the same symbol Ward had on his forearm back in Somalia. Jace crouched down. "Where's your commander?" The merc looked up, bloody and defiant. "He's not hiding. He's watching. Everything you do, he lets you do." "You mean we're part of his plan?" "No," the man coughed. "You're just the opening move." He died with a smile on his face. 9:11 a.m. Desert Hideout, temporary camp. As the team regrouped, Ghost scanned satellite images Hawk decrypted from a downed drone. There's a transport jet inbound to the Syrian border. Unregistered. Cloaked flight plan. It's heading to a facility not even the CIA tagged. Jace's eyes narrowed. He's moving something or someone. Donovan, now cleaned up and fed, stepped forward. There's only one site like that still active in the region. Codename, Black Echo. It was built during the Cold War and buried under layers of denial. Jace nodded. Then that's where we're going. But if Ward's planning to deploy something, Hawk warned, that may be the last stop before it hits the world. Jace looked at his team. Dirt-covered, bruised, blooded, but burning with purpose. No more hiding. No more chasing ghosts. "Next move," Ghost said, locking his rifle. "We bury them. Some facilities are so secret, they don't exist on any map, not because they are forgotten, but because they are forbidden. 2 days ago, SEAL Team Reaper was tracking a rogue biochemist. Now, they were heading towards something far bigger. Black Echo, a covert facility from the Cold War, scrubbed from history and buried under the Syrian border mountains. It wasn't just a lab. It was a vault. a place where governments buried what they were too scared to use. 3:22 a.m. infield deployment, 30,000 feet over Syrian airspace. The Blackbird was flying dark, no transponder, no beacon. Inside, Jace checked his gear silently while Hulk laid out blueprints of the target. "We hit the mountain from the east," Hulk said. "There's a geothermal exhaust port they used for cooling during the 80s. That vent feeds into the sublevels. The main elevator is too hot, motion sensors, automated sentries, tripwires." Ghost nodded. "What's the window?" 10 minutes from drop to vent entry. After that, thermals will pick us up. We'll be locked in." Stryker smirked, checking his shaped charges. "That's all right. We're not here to leave quietly." Bear cocked his weapon. "Let's blow this coffin open." Jay stood up, helmet on, eyes calm. "Reaper team, drop ready." 3:37 a.m. Black Echo perimeter. The team dropped in silence, parachutes deployed low and fast. The mountain range was jagged and harsh, wind slicing like knives. They landed within 400 meters of the exhaust vent. Hulk was already disabling heat sensors and rotating fans while Bear scanned for patrols. Jace leaned over the ridge and saw it. A vertical shaft, 3 meters wide, steam rising faintly, hidden under a camo net. Unmarked, forgotten, perfect. They dropped into the shaft one by one, climbing 60 feet into the heart of the rock. 3:51 a.m. sublevel 4, Black Echo. They entered into darkness. No guards, no cameras, no alarms, only silence. Then lights flickered on, motion triggered. Green-tinted LEDs lit the hallway with a dull hum, revealing reinforced doors, faded hazard signs, and old Soviet graffiti. "Oblivion is better than knowledge," Razor whispered. "Creepy as hell." They moved through corridors lined with decommissioned labs, sealed rooms with biohazard warnings scratched into steel. But Level 6 was different. Fresh paint, warm power, active systems. Bear ran a portable scanner. "Someone's been down here within the last 72 hours. Air scrubbers still running." They found the command center behind 2 blast doors. Ghost hacked the terminal and brought the displays to life. Video feeds flickered. Files loaded. Then came the horror. 4:08 a.m. Black Echo control room. Hulk scrolled through the data as images flashed on screen. Test subjects, human and animal, exposed to a pathogen labeled VX Shadow. Fast-acting. Airborne. No cure. The video showed experiments. Deliberate exposures. Casualties. Then came the footage from 72 hours ago. Nolan Ward. Alive. Healthy. Standing over the terminal. Giving orders. Deployed to Stage 1 sites. Targets. Civilian metro zones. Ghost's hand tightened on his rifle. He's planning to use it now. Hulk found the deployment route. 2 canisters. Loaded onto a stealth chopper. Destination, an unknown cargo ship en route to Europe. ETA, 8 hours. Stryker cursed. "We don't have time to warn anyone." Jace looked at the screen, showing Ward walking out of the facility, smiling. "No," he said. "We don't warn them. We stop him." 4:17 a.m. Hangar Bay exit. As they moved to exfiltrate through the west loading dock, Razor froze. From the darkness ahead came footsteps, then a spotlight, and finally, a voice. "Hello, Reaper team. You've come far." Jace raised his rifle, but froze. The man stepping forward was clean-shaven. Tactical gear. Familiar eyes. Nolan Ward. Alive. Real. "Still following orders, Jace?" he asked, stepping closer. "Or are you finally ready to hear the truth?" Jace stared at the man he once called Commander. Then he whispered, "I watched you die." Ward smiled faintly. "You only saw what I wanted you to see." Every soldier is trained to follow orders until he finds out the mission was a lie. Jay stood still, rifle half-raised. Before him, Nolan Ward, his former CO, the man he watched die, was alive, calm, and unarmed. Or so it seemed. Around them, the old Black Echo facility groaned under decades of secrets, dim red lights flickering like the heartbeat of something ancient and dangerous. The rest of Reaper team formed up silently behind Jace, weapons aimed, waiting for his word. But Ward didn't flinch. He smiled. You never asked why, Jace. Why they sent you after me. Why they burned you. Jace narrowed his eyes. You murdered civilians. Deployed a chemical weapon on a village full of innocents. Ward nodded slowly. I did. Gasps from the team. Stryker cursed under his breath. Hawk steadied his rifle, finger on the trigger. But not because I went rogue, Ward continued. Because I followed the real orders. Flashback, 11 months ago. Nolan Ward sat in a private Pentagon briefing room. A CIA black-level director across from him slid over a dossier. Project VX Shadow. Tested in a controlled zone, the director ordered. Blame insurgents. Clean the site after 48 hours. No American signatures. Ward shook his head. VX is unstable. Once it mutates. It's already mutating, the man snapped. We need data. Real world. Ward hesitated. You want to stop a future war, the man said. Then sacrifice the present. Just one village. Back to present. I followed their orders, Ward said now, his voice low. They wanted the virus tested in a live population. We lost control of it in 32 hours. So I quarantined the village. No survivors. You expect us to believe you did it for peace. Ghost growled. No, Ward replied. I did it because I believed them. Until I realized the virus wasn't for defense. It was for profit. Bear looked stunned. You're saying this was all about money. Ward pointed to the digital files still open on the monitors behind them. VX Shadow was designed to cripple, not kill. Long-term neurological damage. High treatment cost. Now, guess who owns the only patent for the antiviral treatment? He paused. The same defense contractor that funds 38% of U.S. bioweapons R&D. Silence. Hawk muttered, Holy hell. Jace's voice cut through the fog. So why go dark? Why not blow the whistle? I tried, Ward said. They sent you to kill me. 4:32 a.m. Black Echo hangar. The tension was suffocating. Reaper team stood at a crossroads. Jace's finger hovered over the trigger. He had hated Ward for a year, hunted him, blamed him for everything. Now, he wasn't so sure. Ward stepped closer. You can finish the job. Kill me. Say it was righteous. But if you do that, this virus goes global. The ship carrying the VX payload, you'll never find it in time. Hawk glanced at Jace. He's not lying. I've been tracking a ghost freighter for 3 days. No transponder, no registry. It just appeared. Ward handed Jace a drive. Coordinates. Kill switch protocol for the VX containers. Only works within a kilometer. You had this the whole time. Bear snapped. I was waiting for the right team to use it. Jace took the drive slowly. Ghost looked between them. So what's the play? Jace stared at Ward. You come with us. You help us shut it down. Then we all go public. Ward laughed dryly. You really think the truth matters to people who profit from war? I don't care, Jace said, but I'll make sure the world hears it. He turned to his team. We're not soldiers anymore. Bear grinned. We're a virus now. Stryker nodded, and they're about to get infected. 5:01 a.m. exfil pad. The stolen chopper lifted off into the purple dawn. Below them, Black Echo faded into shadow once more. Ahead, a moving freighter carrying enough VX Shadow to paralyze 3 continents. And on board, a kill team, a traitor-turned-ally, and 1 flash drive holding the fate of humanity. Some ships sail with cargo, others with secrets. But this one carries death. The Black Echo facility was now far behind them, buried in silence once again. But what lay ahead made even that tomb of horror seem like a playground. The VX Shadow virus was now on a freighter in the Mediterranean. The Ocean Seraph, a ghost vessel with no registered crew, no AIS beacon, and a course headed straight for southern Europe. SEAL Team Reaper had exactly 3 hours before the ship reached international trade lanes. 3 hours to intercept. 3 hours to prevent a biological apocalypse. 5:56 a.m. above the eastern Mediterranean Sea. The stolen stealth chopper roared through the wind, flying low over the water. Inside, the team prepped for high-risk maritime boarding. Jace checked the suppressor on his 416 Hong Kong dollars and looked at the digital map Nolan Ward uploaded. "Target ship is running cold," Hawk said. "No radio, no heat. But there's motion. 32 signatures." "Crew?" Ghost asked. Ward shook his head. "Doubt it. This ship was mothballed 2 years ago. The crew should be 0. Bear cocked his head. "Then who the hell is walking around on it?" Stryker strapped on his breather mask. "Doesn't matter. We take control, find the VX canisters, and dump that ship before sunrise." Jace's eyes narrowed. "And if we're too late?" Ward looked out the window. "Then we die dirty." 6:21 a.m. deck of the Ocean Seraph. The team fast-roped silently onto the upper deck. The ship was old, rusted, and smelled like rotten oil. No lights, no noise, except the occasional moan of metal under strain. As they spread out, raise a radio from the engine room stays. "Yo, guys, you're gonna want to see this." They regrouped in a narrow corridor leading to the lower hull. Bodies. 4 of them, wearing hazmat suits. Dead. Jace examined one. Dried blood at the mouth. Skin mottled and gray. No wounds. No gunfire, he muttered. Just dropped. Ghost scanned the corridor with thermal. "It's colder than it should be. Whatever's down here, it's not human anymore." 6:34 a.m. VX containment hold. The lower hull had been converted into a crude lab. Plastic partitions, modified freezers, and 3 VX shadow canisters. 2 were locked in stasis. The third was missing. No breach. Hull confirmed. Checking instruments. The third unit was removed recently. Bear hissed. "Why would someone take a canister out?" Ward stared at a set of muddy footprints leading away from the containment. "To test it." Suddenly, crack, gunfire, close, contact, off stairwell. Ghost shouted. The team swung around, bullets ripping through the metal. Silhouettes moved through the mist, cloaked in shadows, gas masks, no identifiers. Well-funded. Hawk snapped. Professional. They knew we were coming. Jace grabbed cover and barked. "Light 'em up." Stryker lobbed a flashbang. Boom. In the chaos, one enemy went down. Jace pulled off the attacker's mask and froze. It wasn't an enemy soldier. It was an American contractor, a badge still pinned to his chest. Neurogen Biotech Security. Ward looked sick. They deployed private security to defend the virus. Bear muttered. "They are not stopping the outbreak. They are protecting it." 6:49 a.m. bridge. The fighting intensified as they moved toward the bridge. Bullet holes riddled the bulkheads. Blood trails. Screams over radio static. The final fight came fast. 3 mercenaries held the bridge, guarding the last canister. Jace flanked right, taking 2 down with clean bursts. Ghost disarmed the third with a brutal elbow and secured the container. But on the command console, a countdown blinked. VX release, 8 minutes and 29 seconds. Hawk's face turned white. They automated it. 8 minutes, and it's aerosolized over the water. Ward shoved the drive into the console. Starting remote kill protocol. Stryker barked. "We need to go. Now." The timer dropped. 6 minutes and 32 seconds. Jace gave one last look around. Set the charges. No evidence. No virus. They moved like clockwork, planting C4 through the hull. 7 a.m. chopper extraction. The team flew off the deck as a freighter exploded below. A fireball erupted in the early dawn light, sending waves of pressure through the air. The mission was complete, but something lingered. Back in the chopper, Hawk turned to Ward. This wasn't the end, was it? Ward didn't answer. Jace just stared out the window. "Ghost ship's gone," he muttered. "But the war," he looked down at his blooded gloves, "has just begun." Sometimes the hardest battle isn't against the enemy. It's against your own government. The explosions behind them still echoed faintly as SEAL Team Reaper flew away from the burning remains of the Ocean Seraph. They had destroyed the VX shadow canisters and stopped a global catastrophe. Or so they thought. 8:15 a.m. military safe house, somewhere in Europe. The team landed in a quiet compound, surrounded by guards. Nolan Ward's presence was a tense silence between them. His information saved lives, but no one fully trusted him. Jace removed his helmet, sweat and grime marking his face. "We did what no one else dared," he said quietly. Hawk nodded but looked exhausted. "We stopped the virus shipment, but at what cost?" A secure phone buzzed on the table. Bear answered. The room went still. Then Bay's eyes widened. "It's a message from the Pentagon." "Pentagon Command, encrypted video call." The screen flickered on. The face that appeared was cold, unyielding, a general with decades of power etched in his eyes. "Gentlemen," he said, "your unauthorized mission has not gone unnoticed." Jace clenched his jaw. "Your actions have compromised national security. You've exposed classified projects. Effective immediately, you are suspended from active duty pending investigation." Ward stood, voice cutting sharp. "We stopped a bioweapon shipment that could have killed millions. We should be decorated." The general's stare froze him. "You are under orders not to speak of this operation to anyone, ever. The virus and all related data are classified under highest level secrecy." Ghost stepped forward. "So what? We just cover it up? Let them profit from the virus again." "No," Jay said firmly. "We do what's right." 9:05 a.m. safe house. Debrief. Reaper team gathered. Tension heavy in the air. Ward whispered, "They're going to make us disappear. Or worse, frame us." Stryker slammed his fist. "We did the impossible. They want us dead or silenced." Bear looked around. "So what's next?" "We go rogue." Jace exhaled deeply. "We're not just fighting terrorists anymore." He looked each teammate in the eye. "We're fighting a system that betrays its own." 9:45 a.m. outside the safe house. Suddenly, the perimeter alarm shrieked. Gunfire erupted. Shadowy figures in tactical gears stormed the compound. "Ambush!" Hawk shouted. Jace grabbed his rifle. "Hold your ground." The firefight was brutal. The attackers moved with military precision, clearly government-sanctioned. Reaper team fought desperately, but the odds were overwhelming. Amid the chaos, Ward was hit. Jace dragged him to cover. "Hold on, Nolan." Ward coughed blood. "It's not over." 10:15 a.m. aftermath. The attackers withdrew as quickly as they appeared. Reaper team was battered, but alive. Jace looked down at Ward, whose breath was shallow. "We can't trust anyone," Ward whispered. Jace nodded. "We'll expose the truth. But first, we survive.